Welcome to Fredericksburg Mission, a podcast talking all things mental health and wellness in the Burgh, brought to you by...
How do you shorten the time it takes to buy a car? Car buying just got easier. Pohanka365.com lets you complete as much or as little of the car buying process online. Pohanka365.com. Car buying simplified. Anytime, anywhere.
Welcome to Fredericksburg Mission Podcast. My name is Angela Rivers, and today I am here with Wendy Zelazny, Director of Member Relations for the Chamber of Commerce. Welcome.
Thank you, Angela. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Thank you so much. So I'd love to kick this off. You know, everybody hears of the Chamber of Commerce, and there's different regions, so you are in Fredericksburg.
We're the regional chamber, not just Fredericksburg. We're seated in Fredericksburg because it's the center of the region, but we're actually Stafford, King George, Caroline, Spotsylvania, City of Fredericksburg, Quantico, AP Hill, and Dahlgren are all members of our chamber.
So just a few places.
Just a few places. Small region, not many people,
A lot of people don't know that. I didn't even know that. I'm a member, and I didn't know that.
Yes, I know. That's why, that's one of the things I wanted to clarify, because it's true. It's confusing because it's the Fredericksburg Regional Chamber of Commerce, and this is kind of a secret, but I believe we're talking about rebranding to make it a little bit clearer because the regional gets lost. Fredericksburg is such a presence, and because we're located there, there's confusion. But we are the region.
Okay. And what is the mission?
So we're a business chamber. There are different types of chambers, and I should let you know that as well. But we are a business chamber. Our mission is to create relationships, build and create relationships, and create competitive advantages to create a healthy business environment for the region. So really, it's about economic development and about supporting the economy, growing the economy in the region. And how do you do that? We help our businesses be more successful. So it's really creating a community of business investors. We're membership based, and it's my tagline is always a rising tide raises all ships. So we all work together to help each other be more successful. Because alone, it doesn't work.
No, it doesn't. And I find that in Fredericksburg, everybody knows everyone.
Yes.
But you need that support.
Yes.
To help your business thrive.
You do. And we're made up of for-profit and nonprofit. And in many cases, one doesn't know the other. And together, we're helping people at every level. So it's not just the business owner, it's the employees, it's the employee families. We want our region to be rich and diverse, and we have a lot of veterans here, so they have different needs. So that's something that we always have in mind.
Have you ever done any research about the various chambers around Virginia?
Oh, sure.
And then is there one way that this one differs from others or is special or anything that...
Well, I mean, again, so we belong to an organization called VACI, and that's Virginia Association of Chamber of Commerce Executives. We have leadership conferences. We just had one this past summer at the Homestead where all the senior members of the teams will come together and share resources, share ideas, talk about programming, struggles, successes. Chamber World is a place where we do a lot of borrowing from each other. And that's encouraged, and we're connected, as a state, we're all connected, but then we also belong to another association that is national, and I go to their conferences. Typically they have a membership division, so I'll go to those, and we do, again, resource sharing, what's working, what's not. Chambers are very different depending on the region, very different. So you'll have a rural farm agricultural community. Their chamber is going to be very different from ours. We are more, we're very veteran focused. We're very business focused. The events that we hold are really tailored to our members and our members' needs. We also have a whole policy and advocacy side. We are constantly advocating for business policies, business-friendly policies in the region, and we look to our members for input on that. We have a legislative affairs committee that helps set our legislative platform every year. and we only handle business issues, no social issues. We do polling on a regular basis of our members to see if the programming we're offering, the professional development tools that we're offering, if those are helpful or if they'd like to see something else.
Yeah.
So it's really a very flexible, organic organization where we are, the new word, pivoting, agile, all those things. We're all those things to all people, but especially with the pandemic, it's encouraged that. I think overall, nationally, within the state, everybody's kind of looking to see what they can do, how they can be better, and that's our focus, is how can we help? What can we do to make you better and help you with your mission? We're about supporting more than anything else.
Yeah, and in my role at UMFS, I've been traveling around Virginia lately and visiting other chambers. And it's been really neat to see how they run in comparison and to see the different dynamics. So that's why I was curious.
It is. And you'll have chambers where the staff is all volunteer. And it may be one person. It may be a one-man show. And then you'll have...
It's a lot for a one-man show.
It's a lot for a one-man show. Well, but it depends on the region and on the community, the size, typically. It's still really hard to do that as a one-man show, honestly. They're really relying on volunteers. And with the way things have been with the pandemic, it's been very hard to have in-person events for a lot of the chambers. We came back to in-person as soon as we were able. And we're flexible enough that we can go back and forth depending on what's happening. Not everybody can do that. It's very tough. But we have a robust and very professional, very experienced staff. So that makes us really different from a lot of the other chambers that you probably met with. But they're all great.
They are all great.
It's interesting.
And they help so much, when you're in a new region and you don't know anyone, the first thing you should do, or at least I do, is go and find the chamber because it's the connector. It
is the connector. And that's, we think of ourselves, as the voice of the business community, but also the convener and the connector. And that's mainly what my role is. Obviously, I'm membership development, so I'm always looking for new members but that's because that's my mission, is I know I can help you.
Yeah.
I can help you be better. I can give you things that you might not have. I can help you with form strategic relationships or referral partners, whatever it is you might need, or you might just want some friends.
Yeah.
And that's
okay too.
That's valid.
Especially if you're new and don't know anyone.
Exactly. And that happens a lot. So and we have programs for that. So we have an app for that. But and that's what makes my job great, is because it's the connector part. Yeah. That's what I love.
Yeah.
I love connecting people to people they hadn't met, but that suddenly the two of them together, it makes it like incrementally better for both of them, business wise. So it's exciting.
You're like the missing piece of the puzzle.
That's exactly. It's fun.
And then did you start in that role or have you evolved?
I did. I just had my 4th year anniversary, which was exciting.
That's so exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting. And when I started, I really didn't know a lot about chambers.
Really?
No.
But you're so good at what you do.
Well, well, it's interesting that you say that. Thank you. But when I took the job, I had read the description and I thought, oh my gosh, this is my personality. It's a natural. I do all these things without even thinking about it. This will be great. But it still took about a year for me to really understand all the programming and meet everyone. We have so many members and such a large region that it takes a lot even if you think which of course I thought I knew.
We always do.
Who I am. Yeah. It's who we are. We're take charge people. But it's been a real journey, and it's been really exciting for me to grow in the role, which I've done. And I think I started out as the coordinator and then I moved up to director. But it's been really interesting. And what I love about the chamber, what I love about our CEO, Susan Spears, is that she really gives you the room. You have the room to expand your role. You have the room to experiment and make mistakes. But because you can kind of take it and make it your own, you can do things and help people in ways that you would never have thought of. And it's just something you can do organically on a daily basis. And I just love that. I love the flexibility, and I love that she gives you that kind of the leash.
Yeah.
You're off the leash. You can do your thing.
Yeah, and you guys have a podcast too, correct?
We have more than one actually, and those change as well. Susan has one called Leader to Leader because our signature program is Leadership Fredericksburg. We're in our 15th year, which is really exciting.
That's so exciting.
Yeah, it's a great program. And so she has the Leader to Leader podcast. We also will do special podcasts for events. So for Veterans Appreciation Month, we had a Veterans Appreciation podcast. So 4 of our members who are either veteran nonprofits or veteran for-profits came on that show and talked about what it is that they do, and that was fascinating. We had Good News Fredericksburg during the pandemic. One of our members, Rappahannock Electric Cooperative, had given us a grant, and we were able to take that money and gift it out to members who were struggling, who just needed a little extra something to make it through the pandemic. Maybe they needed a piece of equipment so they could pivot and deliver their services in a different way, but they just didn't have the money for it. So we were able to do that, and that was super fun.
Yeah.
We also have business briefs where we talk about businesses in depth. Susan does that. And we have a couple of others. We're just constantly looking to kind of see what's needed again and make it fresh. So it's fun.
Yeah.
And they're all on Apple and Spotify.
It pops up on mine every time I go to Spotify.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, just like yours, it's fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And do you have any things in your role that you really wish you could accomplish? Like, do you have any great goals?
For me, really it's connection. It's finding ways to connect people more effectively, kind of pushing out some of the programming to people. And I think with our new marketing team, one of my things was always the social media presence. I think that is where people are going now. If it's maybe during the course of the business day, but a lot of times at night. I just met with someone this morning who said that's her evening, is catching up with everything that's going on. And we have started to use our social media in a way to push out our members more effectively, which I think is really exciting. So my role is to just let members know, please share, tag us when you post, but also share content. We're building a content bank where we can every day just share out really exciting things that members are doing, stories, all of that. And I love that.
And you guys are found on Facebook and Instagram. Do you do other platforms like TikTok?
So we have a TikTok account, but we mainly use that to manipulate video. And then we share it out on the other platforms. We're also on LinkedIn. We have a big presence on LinkedIn and Twitter.
For businesses,
Yeah. LinkedIn is really, and that's one thing I do keep trying to educate business members about. LinkedIn is a great place to position yourself as an expert in your industry and to push out to other businesses. And I think for nonprofits, for example, it's a great place to be, because that's where you're going to find a community of people who are interested in being a sponsor or interested in engaging, volunteering. Volunteers are something that we're always looking for, and a lot of our members are as well. So I would love to be able to build a pool of volunteers.
Yeah, everybody would.
Yeah, I know. I know, and that's the thing.
It's hard.
I met with someone today, and I've met with someone this week, and you as well.
Yeah.
It's very tough to find volunteers, but I think they're out there.
They're out there.
I think it's education, and I think it's getting the word out. And so that's something that I focus on, is constantly, whenever I meet with people, I'm always writing down what they're looking for, but then I meat with other people and try to partner. That's where the connecting happens.
So every day for you is probably different, right?
It is.
That's got to be a lot of fun.
It is. Well, years ago I was a producer in Manhattan, and that's what I liked.
I could see that in a heartbeat.
So what I loved about it was, your job was completely different, and the people you were working with were completely different every 4 to 6 weeks. But everything you did on every day was different. Yeah. So it was never boring.
Yeah.
And I'm not really a desk job kind of person.
No, really?
So, yeah, I know. It's a shock. I know, it's a shock. No one can believe it when they hear it. But it's true. So, but you're like that too.
I am,
that's who
very
you
much
are,
so.
Right? Yeah, I mean, that's what I love about you. I'm like, oh, you're a girl after my own heart.
I always got in trouble for talking too much in school,
Here I am. Yes.
I was like, oh, I knew I was going to be a recruiter.
Yes, exactly.
Right. Why couldn't we
That's
just
it.
will this and fast forward a little bit?
Well, the thing is, it's you enjoy people,
Do.
right?
Yeah.
And you want to know their story and you want to connect with them on some level, and that's your gift. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a gift to be able to do that.
And I
So,
love people. I mean, I just feel that everybody has a story.
Yep.
Everybody can contribute to somebody somehow. You know, there was a time when so many people would just, it wasn't the same culture as it is today. I think
Yes.
more people bring
I
people
agree.
up these days.
Yes. Yes.
The pandemic, I also view, and this is my own personal take, so it's
Mm.
not gospel, but that the pandemic made people realize that life is short.
Yes.
And, you know, why be so dramatic or catty or whatnot, you know, especially businesses. You know, we should all bring each other up. And that's one great thing that Fredericksburg does is everybody's always looking after everybody.
Yeah, and that's like a lot of the shop local. I
Mhm.
think that hit home a lot harder when people started realizing during the pandemic that they might lose those little stores,
so
those
scary,
restaurants.
too. Yeah.
Yes, yes. It is so scary, and it came. I think it really came home for people during that time that they needed to look outside themselves
Mhm.
and see what they could do to help other people
Yeah.
and to make better choices
Mhm.
about where their money was spent,
Mhm.
where their time was spent, and what they spent time thinking about,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
your focus, I think for a lot of people, they really started to think about, if you always wanted to travel and that's what you do, you talk about it, but you
Mhm.
don't do it.
Right.
And now I think people are really enacting
Mhm.
a lot of those dreams and wishes, and that makes for happier people
It
and
really
a better
does.
society.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
It really
So
does.
there have been, obviously there were some downsides to the pandemic, but I think some good things have come out of it as well.
Mhm.
It's like the Nietzsche,
Yeah.
what doesn't kill me makes me stronger.
It's true. It's true.
It
And
is
people are
true.
finding their new normal these days.
They are. They are. And as much as people don't like that phrase, it's not a negative thing necessarily.
Mhm.
New normal can mean that you have more time to spend with your children
Mhm.
or your family
Yeah.
or doing your hobbies. And yet you can still be super effective at work. It's more the European model than the
Yeah.
American model,
It is.
right?
Mhm.
Where Europeans have a lot of free time. They don't necessarily work 80 hours a week.
Yeah.
You're not effective 80 hours a week. You
No.
just aren't.
No.
No one is.
Yeah.
So maybe doing some volunteer work instead.
Mhm. We know a great place that they can
I
volunteer.
was thinking, I heard of this place that
It's called the Chamber.
or United Methodist.
I know.
Either one.
Yeah.
I mean, there are so many options.
There
But
are.
yeah, no, it's really true. I just think that things are different, but it's a better.
Mhm.
It's a better community, I think.
Yeah.
So-
And then how do you guys, so you help businesses,
Mhm.
but there, you know, I often hear people tell me, oh, I can't join the chamber. I don't have enough time.
Right.
I also hear a lot of people say it's expensive.
Mhm.
So there's different tiers, there's different things you do.
Yes.
Can you go over that a little bit?
Sure. We changed the way that when I came on board, this had happened right before I was hired. They moved from an old system of assessing dues to this new tiered system. And the idea was that there's a level for everyone that's affordable.
Mhm.
I mean, it depends on the size of your business. It depends on also, I mean, I always insist on meeting with people before they join. If in any way it's possible for them to do that, and I'll meet on Zoom. If they aren't comfortable meeting in person, I prefer in person because it's stickier.
Mhm.
But I want to find out I want to learn about them.
Yeah.
I want to know who they are, what their business is, what their outside interests are. I want to know everything, what they're doing that makes them unique, what they're doing that's working well, and what they're doing that's not working well,
Mhm.
and what their goals are, and how I can help them be more successful. And we have, a membership brochure. It's got benefits and programming. It's all siloed. So, most people are looking for marketing and visibility opportunities, networking, leadership, professional development, or advocacy. They
Mhm.
want to be more involved in the legislative side of things. And, once we go over all of that, typically people find that there's a lot
Mhm.
that we can do, even if you can't come to events. Our goal, to me, the greatest asset that we have that we can give you is the ability to build those relationships.
Yeah.
And if you're not coming in person to events and doing things, that's harder,
Mhm.
but it still can be done. We have a lot of marketing opportunities. We do Facebook Premiere ribbon cuttings. We do Instagram reels for people. we'll do all kinds of, we have all the social media and you can share with us so people can get to know you that way.
Yeah.
And you don't have to come yourself. You can send other members of your team. So I always tell people, if they have enough employees, don't commit to coming to everything. You should come to some things initially so people know who you are, but then assign a member of your team to each of the programs. And we've got young professionals, we've got Chamber Network of Enterprising Women, we have all these different things you can do. And then we have just pure networking events. We've created some new ones. We have leadership events, everything. So that you don't have to commit to coming to everything all the time.
Yeah.
We also changed our programming. Things used to be on a monthly basis. Now they're quarterly. So they're larger events. You'll meet more people more quickly, different people every time. There'll be speakers, so you'll get some professional development. And then in the end, if none of that works, maybe it's not right for you.
Right.
That's the thing.
Right.
It's not for everyone. And I think for some businesses, maybe it's a one-man show, they're working in a store, they don't have time, but still you can do a ribbon cutting. You still can share it on social media. I mean, that's what all the more successful retail establishments are doing now. And for people that are new, we can push you out so everybody knows about you, but we can also help you understand how to run your social media in a way that's more effective, less time consuming, but will get you a better return.
Yeah.
Maybe you need someone to do your social media. I can connect you to companies that do that.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of the value as well. You need resources, we have them. We only refer to chamber members. So
That's good to know.
Oh, yeah. And we have brochure racks and business card holders. So if you can't be there, you can still have your brochures and business cards. We have so much traffic through the office. We have 2 conference rooms that are used by our members. We have lead share groups that are business to business referral groups. Those groups are free and they meet before business hours, 8:30 to 9:30 in the morning. And there's one that meets at lunchtime. So, I mean, I feel like we have so much and that in many cases, people don't really know what they don't know.
Right. That's true.
And that's, it's education.
Yeah.
I really feel like a lot of it is education.
And I feel like too, when you become a member, you get the little thing that says you're a member. And when I walk into a business, I think it's kind of neat to see that.
Yes.
I mean, there are some great businesses that aren't members of chambers too, but when I first moved here, 7 years ago, and I didn't know anyone, but I saw that, it's like, oh, well, this is a great business. It's well run, people know about it. It kind of put it at a different level. Do you find that?
It's legitimizing.
Yeah.
And I also think that businesses that join have made the commitment to be part of a community. They're investing in their region because it's not really, we're a nonprofit. Also, I should say that. And so when you're paying a membership fee, it's really an investment, and it's an investment in the community. And it's an investment in the success economically of the region as a whole. And again, it's working together, supporting one another. We really do encourage our businesses to support each other. If you're going on, you need an HVAC person, maybe use one of the members. I mean, obviously that's not a rule.
Right.
You have to trust the person and feel like they're, good. We don't go around behind people and check, like, are they really good at that? I don't know.
You never know.
Right. So, but it's recommended, and that's, typically what people do. And I think it's a real value added. You don't have to search around for someone, you can call and we'll have names for you, and recommendations.
Yeah, definitely.
So.
And so when you moved here from New York, did you ever think you'd be in a role like this?
No.
Did you have big dreams or anything of that sort?
Well, yeah, it's funny. Yeah, when I moved here, I was still a producer. I was working for the NBA.
So this is like normal to you.
Yeah, it is. But well, I was on the other side of the camera. But yeah, it was normal. And then I decided to help my father-in-law start a business. So I moved briefly to the Midwest, came back, and started a family. So I kind of pulled back, and I didn't really know what I was going to do. At the time, I thought I'd go back into production, and then realized that's not really a great job to have a family with, because there's so much travel.
And late hours, probably.
Late hours, lots of 24-hour, round-the-clock days and nights, especially when you're editing. Yeah. So I just didn't know. So I've done a couple of other things before this. I substitute taught. I coached tennis. I ran an arts festival, lots of different things. But I feel like all those things and groups that I was involved with kind of led to this because I know so many people. This is an area that this region is really easy to get to know people. People are very friendly and very relational.
Yeah, that's the first thing I noticed when I moved here.
Yeah, you have to have found that, right?
Yeah, as soon as I moved here, from Northern Virginia, I was astonished. I went to Giant. I didn't know anyone. And the guy handed me his card, and he said, "Good morning, ma'am." And I was looking around like I had like something in my teeth. I thought it was so crazy. In Northern Virginia, everyone's just in your own way. And so it was I came home and I'm like, do I have something in my teeth? Like I was literally like wondering the whole entire time at Giant, that something was weird about me because people were just so nice. And I find that's just how Fredericksburg is. People are really nice.
They are.
And the whole region, the Quantico, Stafford, all the Spotsy, everybody's really nice.
They are. And they all want to connect and they all want to know you. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
It's really, really, it's a great place. And actually we're involved. I'm going to be going to Quantico for the welcome to new families. And I want to talk to you about that because I would love to get you involved with that. It's for new families of enlisted as well as officers. Yeah. And I'm going so that I can let them know about all the resources our members have for them. But I love that the military base reached out to me.
That's
how great is that?
That's really cool.
That just shows you how friendly the region is, how badly everyone wants to be connected. Everyone wants to be part of it.
They do.
Which I think is awesome.
And so if someone's listening too, though, and they're not a business,
right?
Just an individual that's looking for a network, could they join or no?
I've had that. Okay, so I have had people join who were looking, but really the people that joined that didn't have businesses here locally had businesses elsewhere and missed the connection with professionals. So they joined for that reason, even though they weren't going to be soliciting customers here, they still wanted to have that professional engagement and professional development. So it makes sense in that sense, but it's not really a social.
Right.
There are other organizations here for that, for the social side of things. We have a lot of social, especially with our young professionals, actually with all of our groups. We are a very social organization, as you must know. We do these network at night events that are really just happy hours. They're themed. We have a Mardi Gras one coming up, a Cinco de Mayo. Really fun stuff. But it's all kind of giving professionals a platform to meet each other that's maybe a little bit more casual and fun. Not everybody is as outgoing as we are, and sometimes they need a little something to give them a push. So it works for that. Other than that, though, I don't know. Unless you wanted to find out about resources in the community, then it might make sense for that, but I don't think so.
And if you're a business, do you have like an age minimum? Because some businesses, there are teenagers running great businesses and things like that.
And I've had, and I have one right now. I have a young man who has started a nonprofit who's a student at UMW, and I've connected him to 1 million people. Wow. He's a real go-getter. It's great for someone like that. And I've had other people starting IT, because IT, that's a young man's game, young woman's game at this point. So I've had people with IT companies, web developers, and they've joined. And it's been great. It's great for them.
And so all the different tiers too, not one member gets more benefits than another, or are they?
No, that's not true. You're right. Okay. As you go up in tiers, there are additional benefits that are added. You get what we call VIP benefits. We have a rotating banner out on our website, and depending on your level of membership, that dictates how many months of rotating banner ad you get, or where the rotating banner ad is. But at the most basic level, you can still come to all of our events. You don't get invited to the VIP events, but you have the opportunity to sponsor something, and then you get the VIP benefits for that event. So people need to be, if you're working with a lower budget. You just need to be strategic. And and that's part of the meeting with me too, is I guide you. I say, okay, so you can join any committee for any program. You can join a lead share group. You can come to all these events. We only charge if we're providing food or if we pay for a speaker or a location. Otherwise, everything's free. So there's a lot of benefit in that.
Yeah.
Right. And typically people who have smaller budgets have less time. So in a lot of ways that works out for the best. They can still send us the social media. You can send us press releases. You can post your own events on our community calendar. We have a weekly e-newsletter. All that populates out to the e-newsletter. I mean, you can really push out in a big way on a low budget.
Yeah.
Very easily.
Definitely. And that's one thing I loved. That's what drew UMFS to the chamber. Yeah.
There's just there's a lot you can take advantage of. And I do, sit down with people and try and counsel them. And then as new things come up, if we have new opportunities or new benefits, we push those out as well.
And then what about this was a stuck that you just said, and it blew my mind, because visiting other chambers, it's not always the same case. So if I couldn't go to something, or our manager couldn't go, or whatnot, we could send someone else, and we wouldn't have to have them. We wouldn't have to pay a fee for them. No, because some you do. No. You're not the member. You, Angela Rivers, are not the member. The business or nonprofit is the member. So yeah. See, so the way it works is when you join, you get a link that asks you to set a password that gives you control of your page in our directory. So it's optimized on Google. We've been around for 120 years. So we have really good numbers on Google. But you can then go in and list as many representatives of your business as you like. And I encourage people to do that because you want those individuals to be able to register for events. They have their own password. They register for things. They come to things. If you're in one of our groups and you can't make it, you can send a sub. It makes it so much easier for everyone. Plus, you can cover so much more ground. You can.
That way, you don't have to come to everything. That's really hard. You can't. We do so much that you couldn't do your own job and come to all of our events. Right. It's hard for me, and it's my job.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. But I make a point of going to everything because I want to be there to grab you if you're new and take you around, introduce you to people. Yeah. I know wwho you want to meet, and if they're in the room, you're going to meet them. Yeah. So, like it or not, you're going to meet these people. But that's the thing. I mean, it's because it's not realistic. Yeah. To expect one person to do everything. You just can't. And you might not be interested in, and you might not want to do young professionals, but you have a, 30-year-old who that's really their jam. So they want to be involved with that. That's great. Yeah. Let them take it.
And that's a great stuck too, to tell, the listeners, because I hear that all the time. It's like, well, I just don't have that kind of time.
Right. You don't need to. Yeah. You don't need to have that kind of time.
But it was interesting though, when you said that though, because other chambers, they make you pay extra per person of the same organization.
Well, and I will say
because I've been doing my research.
Sure, yeah, good for you. Yeah, you're the exception, just so you know. but we do tie certain membership levels to number of employees because you don't want a huge corporation like, say, an IBM, right, with however many thousands of employees to come in at the lowest level. First of all, that doesn't make sense for them. Second of all, it's not fair to the smaller players who, they could come in and then they could sponsor everything. Right. And that's not right. So it really levels the playing field, I think, in a lot of ways. The little guy can get the same benefits that the larger investors get. Obviously, the larger investors have other additional marketing benefits and things like that. But it really does help level it.
Yeah, and I'm sure, they have their reasons for doing what they do, the other chambers, and I just don't know that. But I did find that interesting.
Well, it could be, and depending on the size of the chamber and the size of the region, if they only have really small businesses in their region, maybe that's just how they can justify it. Or maybe the way their dues structure is set up, maybe it's not set up to tie to number of employees. I don't know.
But I don't know enough about it.
But that's a lot about of what we talk about when we go to these VACI events, and we do Zoom membership roundtables. I just had one of those, and people are asking those questions. There's a Facebook group for chamber professionals, and those kinds of things come up all the time. Because people don't know what they don't know.
No, again, they don't.
And the smaller chambers can't afford to come to some of these events, unfortunately. So
how come they're not all the same?
Because Well, because it's like everything else. Every region is so different. I mean, in Virginia, Nova is one thing, and then you come down here, and we're a growing region. We're probably the fastest growing region in the state.
You are
right?
on your website. It says you're the fastest growing region.
And but our region is growing in different ways than Nova is growing, right?
It's true.
So we just got the Amazon warehouse. We've also got the vets. We've got the bases. We've got so many things. We're really we're very deep into cyber in this region, but it's because we have these military bases, and when the service people retire, in many cases they retire and become government contractors. So we have a huge government contractor population. But if you go to rural Virginia, you're not going to find that.
No.
I mean, you'll find more of it probably in the future because people can work remotely.
Right.
But you still will find less of it. We're still part of that kind of DC Beltway, and then we've got Richmond on the other side.
Yeah.
So it's just really different. We've got the VA coming. We've got so many things coming here. I mean, this region is just exploding.
Yeah, it is.
But that's not the case with other regions necessarily.
But it is such a great way to meet people, you know? It really is. It's, that's what people, in my opinion, going to the chamber when you're new or a new business is just so great. You meet a lot of people, you get so many benefits. Not that I'm here advocating 100%, but it's true.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just up to you to take advantage of them. I mean, it really is. We are there to help, and that's why we're all there. I mean, it's really, that's our mission. We want to help you be successful. And if there's anything we can do, we want people to reach out to us. And I have people doing that. Right now the big push is workforce.
Yeah.
People are struggling to find employees. And in every industry, it's not just restaurants, but it's hotels, it's manufacturing, it's transportation, it's all of those things. It's retail. So I get calls all the time, and I'm constantly looking for resources, putting people in touch with each other. We have a huge workforce program. That's our big push right now. We're putting together an internship expo where we're asking our businesses and nonprofits to come and be part of it and, participate, get an intern. We're going to have a program in place that you can follow very easily. We'll have training opportunities for both sides, but that's something that will help our region in a way that, maybe other regions can't do that.
Yeah.
But we have all the schools are members of this committee. Our businesses are members of the committee. And I think that's going to be very helpful because with the increased growth, we have an increased need. And we have all these talented people in the region and, in school. And in many cases, students don't know what the career opportunities are. Their families don't know. Things have changed so much in the business world. And we feel like that's our job. We're going to educate them. We're going to let them know about certification programs. Even while you're in high school, you can be getting certifications.
Yeah.
And you can graduate if you had an internship. You'll have a resume, which is really important. And we want to educate and train and retain the workforce here in the region. Yeah. People have been leaving. We don't want them to leave. We need them to stay. So we need you to stay. So that's our goal. That's our big mission right now.
Yeah. And you're such a great advocate for the community. We ask all of our guests what an unwavering champion means to them. At UMFS, we pride our families, we pride our youth, we pride our staff, our community as being unwavering champions. So how are you an unwavering champion, would you say?
Well, this is something our CEO and I have been talking about. We're never off. Yeah. We're always on.
Yeah.
Always. We're we go home, but I bring my computer with me every night. If I get an email or a text from someone, I respond. I want to be there for people 24/7. If there's anything I can do to help people be more successful, meet someone that's going to make the difference in their career or their professional life, I want to do that. Yeah. And that's what I do.
Yeah, you're making dreams happen for people.
Well, and I love it. Yeah. That's what feeds me.
Yeah.
Right? And everybody has to figure out what that is, but that's what feeds me is helping other people.
Yeah.
And in this case, be more successful, with their business, which then affects, of course, their home life, their personal, mental health, all of it.
And the community.
And the community at large. Exactly.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Wendy, it's been so nice to have you here. If someone is listening and wants to join the chamber or get more information, where should they go?
They can reach out to me, Wendy at fxbgchamber.org, easy to reach. Or you can come in through our website. We are launching our new website, so that will be solid by next week. And we'll have a button that you can push on there that will take you again to me.
Perfect. Thank you so much. We really appreciate having you.
Thank you for having me, Angela. It's always such a pleasure. I love seeing you.
You as well. This is Angela Rivers with Fredericksburg Mission. Of course, to learn more about becoming a foster parent, please visit www.umfs.org/foster. We'll see you next time. Thank you for joining us. I'm Angela Rivers with Fredericksburg Mission. Tune in at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you listen to your podcast. Join us again next week for our next episode.
How do you shorten the time it takes to buy a car? Car buying just got easier. Pohanka365.com lets you complete as much or as little of the car buying process online. Pohanka365.com. Car buying simplified. Anytime, anywhere.